Here we are again. Welcome to Living in the Light. I must confess, I have not gotten all the bugs out of my using Facebook Live yet, but I'm getting closer every day, and so one day I won't have these little pop-ups that are making me crazy that I don't know how to turn off. So welcome. If you don't know me, I am Alicia Leslie, Reverend Alicia Leslie of Spirit of Unity Church. And this is our series, Living in the Light. It's all about how to be in the light side even when things around you may be dark. It's also about getting a new look at things. And today I'm hoping you're going to get a new look at yourself. Yeah, to see even more about how wonderful you are. But we're going to begin, as we do, with the National Day calendar. And today, I decided that I'm going to only do a couple. When it's a day where there's 5 or 6 items, I'm going to pick just a few, because what happens is we spend up half our time doing it, and we really miss out on some of the good stuff that's in there by having to cut them short. So, they are selections from the National Day calendar. You can find everything by going to nationaldaycalendar.org, and it's fun. Okay, so today is Mickey Mouse's birthday. He was born in 1928. Wow, didn't think he was that old, did you? Did you know that his original name was not Mickey Mouse? The first incarnation of who we have come to know as Mickey Mouse was called Steamboat Willie, and created, of course, by Walt Disney. And it was a cartoon of a little steamboat driver. I'm sure you've probably seen it before. Disney was a very inspirational person. And one of the things that I love most that he said is, when he had a new idea, he'd ask about 8 or 10 people what they thought about it. And if they all thought it was a bad idea, he decided that's what he was going to do anyway. How many times do we let what somebody else says or does influence what we do? Now, did you notice I used the word influence, not inspire? We remember influence comes from the human level of consciousness, the lower level, and inspiration comes from the spiritual level. When we learn to tune into spirit a little every day, we're going to find we have more inspiration and less influence. Think about with the word influence, the flow of water. And sometimes you can get in a flow of water that'll wash you right away, and it does. And go back to that in a minute. It is also Great American Smokeout Day. I remember when that started back in 1977. And let's see. Yeah, that was right about when I quit smoking. I think I quit a year or two before that, because I remember when Great American Smokeout came, I was already smoke-free, and I had been hoping that at the time, my husband would think about stopping smoking, because, it's really not the best thing to do to your body. Your body was meant to breathe fresh air, and here we are, we're trying to fight pollution because our lungs are so precious and need good, healthy air the same way as our body needs healthy food. And there we go, smoking, and you wonder, well, why did some people start smoking, Well, I believe that I would like to say it is influence. We wanted to look cool. Everybody else was doing it. Is that a reason to put smoke in your lungs? I don't know. I was a smoker. I can't, I can't condemn it that because I did it. But I can wake up to how it's not really a healthy thing to do, and maybe there's another way to live. Um, I found out some really good information about smoking that I wanted to share, and a couple stories. The first one is I remember that my boss, George Falshaw, when I was an Avon District sales manager, I remember him telling a story about when he quit smoking. And at that time, cigarettes were 50 cents a pack. And he made an agreement with his wife that they would both quit smoking and take the money they spend on their cigarettes and put it in a jar and save it. And in no time, they saved enough money for a glorious vacation. I think that's pretty wonderful. Then when I quit smoking, again, it was on the day before Thanksgiving, but it wasn't yet. They hadn't yet started with the Great American Smokeout. I bowled on Wednesdays, and I was at the bowling alley, and I decided to have a cigarette, and I took out my cigarettes, and I had only one left. So I took it out, and my sister looked at me, and she said, "Oh, can I bum one from you?" And I looked at my empty pack, and I looked at my sister, and I would do anything for my sister. I mean, I just would. She's my older sister, and it's just the way it's been with us. So I said, "Sure." And I gave her my cigarette, and I went and bummed one from someone else. Is that ridiculous? And that was the last cigarette I had. And it was very difficult because the next day was Thanksgiving, and back in those days, everybody sat, they smoked between courses, they sat down and had that leisurely smoke between dinner and dessert, and the rooms were smoky. And we were so accustomed to it, we didn't realize the rooms were smoky, but they were. And so I'm very, very glad that I quit when I did, and that was well over 40 years ago. Few things if you have not yet let go of smoking. I'd like to share a few things, and if you know somebody that's already smoking, you don't condemn them for it. That's not your business. You can pray they'll stop smoking, but you can't tell them to stop smoking, because I know very few people. I think that maybe if my kids asked me to stop smoking earlier, I probably would have, but they didn't, and I shouldn't have needed that anyway. I eventually did it for my own health. And the fact that they'd gone up to 75 cents a pack. Can you imagine that? 75 cents a pack. I was talking to my son the other day about if someone were to buy a carton of cigarettes, heck, it'd cost them well over $10. And he goes, $10? He says, "Ma, they cost over $10 a pack." Oh my God! A carton of cigarettes for $100? Who can afford to smoke? I mean, that's the fact. It goes to show if we want to do it bad enough, we'll come up with the money. Okay, so 20 minutes after you quit smoking, your heart rate drops as well as your blood pressure. 20 minutes. 12 hours after you quit smoking, your body releases carbon monoxide that it's been carrying in your lungs and your veins and all that other stuff. One day after you've quit smoking, your risk of heart attack, heart disease, all those things is starting to drop. 2 days, your sense of smell and taste start to improve. And on the third day, you might start experiencing withdrawal, which isn't pleasant, but you can get through it. And when you do, it's all uphill from there. By the time only 1 month has passed since you quit smoking, you can breathe better and cough less. Now, that to me is a great reason to quit smoking. I am not judging or condemning. I'm trying to inspire people to have a better, healthier, happier, longer life. You know, and you know what? Everybody's got some kind of thing they need to overcome. I don't like to use the word addiction because to me, addiction gives a sense like there's something has power over you. Ultimately, we have plenty of our own power. All right. That's why I don't like to say I'm addicted to anything. But we all do have our stuff. You know, I have a little habit that I go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And that is in the evening. In the afternoon, I have my little wine and cheese and crackers. And then after my dinner, I like to have a one square of a high quality chocolate bar. And that's well and good. But sometimes when I'm doing that cheese and crackers business, I'll throw in a few olives and a handful of something else. And then I get aggravated when I get on the scale. I only have myself to be mad at, but it's the exact same thing. If you want to have change in your life, you have the power to change. And if you've been living a life that is not honoring who you really are, you have the power to change that. So I'm going to ask you a question. I'd like you to take a minute to really roll it around in your head, okay? So I'm going to tell you, and then I'm going to give you a little bit of silence there to figure it out. Are you the figment of someone else's imagination? Are you the figment of someone else's imagination? Is what you do for work influenced by someone? How about the way you dress? How about the car you drive? How about trying to shape yourself into something that you feel is more acceptable than who you actually are? You know, as long as you're trying to be someone else, you are not expressing the blessing that you are meant to be. You're here for a reason. You're not here by accident. You're not even watching this by accident. You're watching it by divine order. You turned it on for whatever reason because you were called to. Because God's got a purpose for you. And who are you anyway? Okay? To a degree, we've all been influenced to try to, in style, you know, in the way we spend our time. We fall into fads. Fads are trying to be something you're not. It's always a shame that, you know, sometimes people live their whole lives being what other people want them to be. Because it's got a good paycheck, because it's got prestige. I wonder, in these challenging times, how many politicians went into politics because they wanted to make a difference and wound up getting carried away by the profitability of it. Because it's a very profitable thing if you get into the positions you want. But if that influences the decisions you make that are not a part of who you are, then you are being the figment of someone else's imagination. I think that's very unfortunate. So, in whose image and likeness are you? The Bible tells us that we are the image and likeness of God. God said that. We're supposed to grow into the image and likeness of God, which is all that is good, okay? We have incredible power to be good, do good, create, be a co-creator. But if we're trying to make a living instead of live a life, now just because I said that doesn't mean you're not supposed to have money. I can't remember who it was. Gail Sheehy wrote a book called Do What You Love, The Money Will Follow. When your work is play, you play all day. Do you go to work hating your job? I feel so sorry for you. I have had 2 jobs. Yeah, 2 jobs that I really didn't like. In most jobs, I adapted rather quickly, and I kind of found what I liked about it and expanded it. I ran a kick press in a factory, and the only problem was I'm very competitive. I can't help it. But I would compete with myself. So in the factory, we did what they call piecework. You got paid by the pieces. So they'd figure out how many pieces are in a pound, and then how many pounds you do in an hour, and you got paid X amount of dollars per piece. So if you could do more pieces in that hour, you got paid more. Woohoo, you were in control of your own pay. The only problem was the other people in the shop were not happy about that, because unfortunately, when one person's out there running like a chicken and everyone else is kind of like, they lower the price of the whole job, because they say, well, shoot, if they can do it, anybody can do it. Not fair. So I got in a lot of trouble for being a fast piece worker. And but I was able to handle that for a while and do it. I've cleaned houses. Sometimes I tell people what the various jobs I've had in my life, and they go, "What? Is there anything you haven't done?" Well, shoot, I'm 76 years old. And when you get to be 76, you'll probably have a bunch of stuff you've done too. And if you don't, if you've only had 1 or 2 jobs in all that time, I hope the heck you liked it. Because if you didn't like it and you spent that many years doing it, when I went to seminary, I had to prove I was stable. So I had to have a work history no less than 2 years. I had to be working, same job, same place, or progressing in the same place. I worked at the airlines, and then I got a job in a travel agency, which was closer to home, because I can't even believe the long ride I had. I don't want to talk about that. Long amount of time on the road every day. Too much time, and I suffered, and my kids suffered. But I'm not going there. But it was about the money. So what was I doing? Shaping myself into somebody else's expectation of what I should be. But I really didn't like the job in the travel agency. I really didn't like it, but I had to stick to it for 2 years. But in those 2 years, I knew I was going to be moving to something I really wanted. And it really worked for me, and it was great. So you may not be doing what you want to do right this minute, but it will come. But don't be doing something somebody else thought you should. When my sister was going through school, we went to the technical school. We were not encouraged to go to college because the belief was you only waste your money sending a girl to college because she's going to get married and waste the whole education. So girls were not encouraged to go to higher education in my day, in my time. So we went to technical school, and my sister wanted to be a designer. She wanted to design clothes and stuff like that. Instead, my mom said you really should be a hairdresser because hairdressers will always have money in their pocket. And it's true. I mean, no matter what, like somebody always wants a haircut. And so they'll say, hey, can you cut my hair? Whether you're working in a shop or sitting in your kitchen, somebody wants a haircut and you got some money in your pocket. So, but she was not what she wanted to be. It took many, many years for her to become what she wanted to be. And she wound up over time becoming an artist. She wanted to, back in the day when we were little, my sister wanted to be an old maid artist, and I wanted to be a nun. I wanted to be a couple of other real interesting things, but amongst the many things I wanted to be, a nun was right up there. And for her, an artist was right up there. So she was not an old maid artist, married mother, but doing her art. And I certainly was not a nun, but I did get to have children and a lot of fulfillment in that. And I made it eventually by a crazy path to work for God, which was my core thing. What about you? What are you doing with your life? What are you doing with your time? Time is the stuff life is made of. You remember we talked about that yesterday, day before? Yeah. We were talking about how happy were you yesterday. That's right. We talked about time. We talked about how happy you are. So this fits right in with it. And how happy are you with your body? How happy are you, with your hair, with your weight, with what you're doing with your life? I think it's really sad that I was walking. I put YouTube on during the day, and I just kind of leave it in the background, and then all of a sudden I look up to see what's on, and they had a thing from an old television program called Catfish. And it was about those people who meet people online and they've got fake profiles, and so it's like unmasking the catfish and stuff like that and exposing them. And I think a lot of times they say, well, I didn't think that I was worth it on my own. Dear God, you are a child of God. Of course you're worth it. And I know that some of my mistakes that were made in my life were because I did not think I was worth it. I was little, the kids made fun of me, they called me horrible names, and, so I had low self-esteem, so I figured, well, I'll take these crumbs. God, you got some crumbs for me? Because I didn't realize how powerful and fun that I can be. And when I'm being myself, when I'm just being myself, I'm a lot of fun. And so I spent a lot of my time not being who I was because I didn't want to, I didn't want to make a scene. I didn't want to stand out. I didn't want anybody to see I was less than. That's kind of scary, isn't it? So I had to find myself. I had to be okay with who I am and to be happy with that. So a lot of people feel they need plastic surgery. Some people desperately need plastic surgery. There's deformities. I love Project Smile, which goes to third world countries and helps the kids with cleft palate and helps them to be whole again. It's just wonderful. But when you are not, when you're online and you're pretending to be someone else, that is really unfortunate. Or I know someone who went on, I don't know, on one of those dating sites, and she had used a Glamour Shots picture for her profile. Well, yeah, you do want to put your best foot forward, but this was a glamour shot. And glamour shots are different than the way you look day to day. So she would very often find that when she'd make a connection with someone, they'd go, "Are you the person? Is that you?" I mean, if you're dating online, which got to be very careful about, to each his own. If you're doing that, you do not want to decide to meet someone for coffee and have them not know who you are when you walk in the door. You are who you are. and it's really fine. Um, did you ever notice that nature doesn't really care? They don't think about how they look, what they wear, what color God made them. They sprout up from the ground and they go, ta-da! Here I am. I am a daisy, or I am a brown-eyed Susan, or I am a daylily, or I am a jack in the pulpit, or I am skunk cabbage. But they're all being who they are. And they're perfect and they're wonderful. My son Frank grows hot peppers. Some of his hot peppers, he'll take a little peppers and he'll arrange them kind of, and I go, oh, that's like a work of art. God made those peppers so beautiful. Yes, yes, Frank, you helped, but God made them so beautiful. God made you beautiful. God made you wonderful. I have a treasure of a book here. This book is so good that it deserves to be read 3 or 4 times easy. Because when I even looked through it recently, I noticed that that all the highlights I'd made. Oh yeah, I forgot that. Oh yeah, I forgot that. Well, this book is by Imelda Octavia Shanklin, and it's called What Are You? And it was printed in 1966. And some of the things it says are important. You are a child of God. You are designed to be perfect. You're perfect however you come out. Whatever size you are, whatever, if you got a crooked nose, if you got a whatever, you're still beautiful, beloved. And you are what you think. Did you? Okay, here's one of my favorite examples. So you're strutting down the street. You know, you got yourself all together. If you're a man, you shaved your beard special, or you're clean shaven, and you know maybe you got your special outfit on, and your hair's all fixed. Or if you're a woman, you know you got you just feel all gussied up, every hair in place, makeup's on with perfection. You walk down the street, everything's fine. Then you go by a store window or a mirror or something, look, you see yourself, oh my God, there is a big piece of broccoli between your teeth, you know, and it's like, oh my God, or your fly's open, oh no, these things happen to all of us, but that doesn't make you any less perfect, and yet we see it and we're, you know, like humiliated. So if we think we're doing good, we're doing good. If we don't think we're doing good, we're not doing good, but we really are. We just think we're not. We are what we think. I wanted to share a couple of little things I found in here. Okay, this is what I just said. Your personal identity automatically adjusts itself to your thinking. I know sometimes if I get yelled at, if somebody, you know, like criticizes me, then I'm like, oh. But I can't make it about me. That's about them. Some things need to be corrected and can be corrected, and other things are none of their business. And that's a wonderful another thing that I love from Unity, that what somebody else thinks of you is none of your business. Let them think what they think. You do your best to be that beautiful, beloved child of God that you are. Let them worry about it. Okay, this says, physically, you are the substance of God, molded in the matrix of your mind. If you're not satisfied with your personality, you should remold it. For that purpose, you have a mind. Remember we were talking about tolerations a little while ago? If you get up in the morning, this is very important. There's another thing I learned in Unity, that if you walk by a mirror and you don't like what you see, you have the power to change that. And if you really don't like what you see, like if you look haggard or you know whatever, that's reflecting out from inside of you. Okay, so sometimes the changes can be a little blush, a little lipstick, which I forgot to put on, and sometimes those changes have to be changes of attitude. Well, I hope you got a little bit of light out of that. and that you know that you are wonderful. Who are you? You are a beautiful and beloved child of God, mighty to attract your good. And don't let anyone or anything else tell you any different. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Till then, have a great day. Bye bye.